in the name of God, our Creator, Redeemer, and Sustainer. Jesus in the storm with his buddies in the boat. And he is sound asleep, they freak out, and they wake him up, and he calms the storm. So, trust Jesus. It's like the big billboards down in the South, right? Trust Jesus. It's that simple, but it's not that easy. We all have our storms that we go through in our life. The last 15 months are a storm of a certain kind. But we also have our personal storms. And how do we trust Jesus in the midst of that? And how do we work with those realities of those storms and make it through? I am realizing that trust is a huge, huge factor in a life well lived. Without trust, it just doesn't work. And yet trust is so incredibly hard to come by, and it is fragile. And so I'm learning that I can't really make anybody else be trustworthy, but I can actually do something about my own life and just live a way that is trustworthy. And it just means, little things like saying what you mean what you say, show up, be present. And yet, just like trust Jesus is simple, it's not easy. And that is the work that we have to do. But I also think about the storms, and especially when we're in our different boats, when the storms come. One of the things that I realize that we can do when we are in a boat, whatever that boat is, whether it's our family, whether it's our church, whether it's our nation, whatever boat we're in, when the storms come, I invite you to look for the people that are like Jesus. Look for the ones that are not panicking. Fred Rogers, Mr. Rogers, asked his mother when he was a little boy why all these bad things happened when he would see them on TV. And Fred Rogers' mother said, look for the helpers. There are always helpers. And I invite you to do that. When your storms come, when you are in the midst of more than you can handle, look for the people that are helping. Look for the people that are calm. I will say that one of the most important characteristics and qualities of a leader is to be non-anxious. Now, I take it one step further than Thomas Friedman in that I think we're all anxious. You're just not allowed to show it. It's that non-anxious presence. Do you know what I mean? Have you been in a meeting or around a family table or in a situation where the anxiety was just getting higher and higher? And there was that one person that was able to say, and not match the anxiety with anxiety, but match it with some calmness, some understanding, listening. I believe that's what Jesus was doing that day on the boat. Yes, he calmed the storm. But think about the inner chatter of our own lives. And what a friend does when you are so, in the theological phrase, freaking out. A friend that will sit and listen calmly so that that storm within you may not vanish, but it subsides just a bit. That's what community is all about. That's what Jesus' life and ministry was all about. It was drawing people in, coming close to God. And in the midst of the storms which come, we cannot control that. But we can make a choice on how we respond when they come. We can go like this, or we can take a deep breath and remember that we're not alone, that we have friends for the journey, that Jesus is with us, not just as an idea, but as flesh and blood, that Jesus walking among us. As Anne said in that sermon long ago, she said, who has been Jesus for you this week? Those opportunities to weather the storms together is what I believe Jesus is inviting us to. And to take deep breaths in the midst of anxiety, in the midst of chaos and panic that our lives are sometimes full of. It is the great gift of church for me. Week by week, we gather, whether it's virtually or in person, and we are reminded that this journey will have storms. That is a promise. The other promise is that we don't have to do it alone, and that Jesus is with us. So this day, I invite you to think about how you respond to your storms. Do you try to do it all on your own and grit your teeth? I'm guilty of that from time to time. Or do you open yourself to the gift of community, to lean in to the support that Jesus offers every day? And I invite you to think like Fred Rogers' mother, to look for the helpers when the storms come. And also, perhaps, that we will be the helpers from time to time. Thanks be to God that we don't have to weather our storms alone. Amen.